All right, so with this session, let's go ahead and do the basic configuration on the Big IB appliance. Just to remind you, the default credentials for CLI or for console is root and default. So in this lab, we're going to use the virtual machine, the Big IB virtual machine deployed on the VMware Fusion. So let me fire up the virtual machine. This is a recently deployed virtual machine. No configuration changes, nothing has been done on the virtual machine yet. So let's use root and default. It says we want you to change the password. Type in the current one. The current one is default. The new one, let's type a new password. Now there is a very important message here that we got. It says for the password for the admin has been changed as well. So for the very first time, when you first change the root password, it will affect the admin as well. Remember, we said the default is admin, but if you start doing the basic setup of the appliance using the command line, you will be prompted to change the root password, and the new password you selected for the root, this is going also to be the admin password. So in fact, here we changed both the root and the admin. Now later on, if you come to the command line and change the root, it will never affect the admin. They are two separate usernames. But again, for the first time, if your first interaction with the Big IB is through the command line and you change the root password, it will affect the admin. This is actually the password that I have used, that we are going to use for the rest of the lab. So as we said, we need to change the management IP address of the Big IB appliance. So let's type config the configuration utility. We're gonna select IP version 4, press enter. It says the current one is automatic. Do you want to use the automatic? I would say no. So the IP address I am going to use as 111, the management interface of the Big IB. I'm gonna say okay. Mask remains the same. Current default gateway keep the same. So this is the final configuration. Accept these settings, yes. Once we accept the settings, now we go back. It will take us back to the command line. At this point in time, we are done with the command line. We need to switch to the GUI, management of the appliance, and do the basic configuration. So let's type in the management IP address that we configured on the Big IB. It will give us warning because the certificate is not signed by trusted certificate authority. For the sake of this lab, we're gonna accept the risk. In production, it's expected that organization to have signed certificate. So remember, the username for the GUI is admin and the password is this one. So I'm gonna copy the password, put here, login. Login failed. Let's try again. So it took the password. It says you need to change because this is the first time we use the admin username. So I'm going to use the same password actually. Click save. Password changed successfully. Log in again. And there we go. The setup utility. So this is the basic configuration of the appliance. Let's start the configuration. It says the license is not activated, so we click on activate the license. The license key I have got from F5. This is a trial license for valid for 30 days. Let's use that. Automatic. In fact, this management IP address is capable of reaching the internet, so I'm gonna go ahead and say automatic licensing. Next. So the appliance now is going to F5 website to activate and fetch the license. There you go. So this is the end user license agreement. I'm gonna accept. It will take a couple of seconds to apply the license and update the device. So done, license applied successfully. Click continue. Now we're on the resource provisioning step. So as I said, with this lab we're going to use the LTM as a nominal. So nothing to change here for the moment. We click next. Device certificate, we're going to accept the self-signed certificate. We don't have a signed certificate to import, so we're going to continue using the self-signed certificate. We're going to name it bigib1.0labs.best. This is the domain name. Time zone, we're going to choose our time zone, which is Dubai. For the root, I'm going to use the same password we used before. And for the SSH allow, we will come back later. We will test this, see how it functions. But for now, we're good to go. Password doesn't match. Now it should match. Now as we mentioned, we are not going to go ahead and configure the redundancy high availability as part of this step. We will do it later on, so we're gonna click finished. Now we have the big IB configured with the management basic configuration. As I said, anytime you can invoke the setup utility again, it will take you through the steps again. You can reactivate the license, click next. We are not going to do that. Always you can click on the F5 logo to go back to the home page.